Thanks for listening to Gossip with Celebrity, brought to you by Celebrity.com. This week we talk about politics and the royals. We end with our weekly feature, The Comments of the Week. The stories, photos, and tweets we talk about can be found at Celebrity.com/podcast under episode 182. Hi, I'm Katie, the founder and editor of Celebrity.com, and I write as Celebrity.
And I'm Chandra, I'm the head writer for Celebrity, and I write as Kaiser.
So we haven't been recording, you know why we're recording this week, but I've been dealing with chronic pain. I wrote about it on Twitter. I'll link that in the post for this podcast. It's number 182. The good news is I'm going to get a hysterectomy, so hopefully it'll take care of all that. But there are days where I'm like, holy shit, how did I get through this day? It's pretty intense, but I'll be all right. And I only have to do like another month before I get the hysterectomy.
Yeah, almost a month exactly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Get that thing out of me. I've been putting up with it for too long.
And the week that Katie is gone, you guys have to be nice to me because I'm in charge of the site. Just any listeners who stop by in December, be nice to me, please.
Yeah, I'll do what I can, though. So the thing that I have, it's called adenomyosis. It's similar to endometriosis. I had never heard of it until I got diagnosed with it when I sought a second opinion. And everyone who has this is like, oh yeah, once you get a hysterectomy, the pain is like nothing. You know, so I feel like I'll be all right and maybe I can help you a bit. And I'll try to take it easy. I know everyone's telling me to take it easy, so I'll take it easy, but maybe I can do a little bit. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of shows. I figure there's always TV, and that's true now more than ever. I really liked Agatha All Along on Disney. I thought that was amazing. Like, it's one of the best shows I've ever watched. I was like, damn, so many times.
Yeah, I've heard great things about it. For me, Kathryn Hahn is a little bit like Laura Dern for me.
Oh, I get that about her. Oh, yeah.
Like, I fucking despise Laura Dern. So I'm not saying, like, I feel that way about Kathryn Hahn, but, like, she has a lot of performances that pluck my last nerve.
I feel like that about Toni Collette.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. I love Toni Collette, but yeah, you have strong feelings about her.
She's something else. But
she's I think it's because
of Hereditary. Actress. It was because of Hereditary.
Yeah.
That movie was, like, horrible, and it was because of that.
I never watched that.
Yeah, Kathryn Hahn can be like that, but in this case, she is supposed to be like that. Like, you don't like her.
Yeah.
So, she's a witch. You know, she's an evil witch. Well, Have you seen anything good?
Yeah, I saw Conclave. I actually went to the theater for, like, the first time in a couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah. But I really wanted to see it, and I'm glad I did, because it was really good. Ralph Fiennes, I'm a huge Ralph Fiennes fan. I always have been, and he's the lead in it. Like, he's in almost every scene. He is not aging well. Like, he looked like ass in, like, the entire movie.
Aww.
But he was really good at it. It wasn't supposed to be, like, a sexy role or anything like that.
He's like the Pope, right? Is he the Pope?
No, he's, like, a cardinal version of, like, Poirot or Miss Marple. Like, he's sort of like doing a little detective bit about, like, how did the Pope die and, like, what was going on around the Pope. And so it's like part detective story, which is obviously why I love it so much.
Yeah.
But then it's also about how they elect the new Pope. It's the Conclave. So you get to see the interior part of that. And
I didn't know what that word meant.
Yeah, the papal conclave is where all of the cardinals from around the world come together to elect the new pope. And, like, there's all this, like, pope politics and church politics, papal politics. And Stanley Tucci was good in it. John Lithgow I think he was a little bit miscast. Like, I'm not sure if I would have put him in that role. The Italian cardinal, I don't know the actor's name, but he was, like, crazy good.
Ooh.
Isabella Rossellini had a very small part, but she was great.
Aw, that's my girl. I've loved her since I was, like, a teen. Yeah.
I mean, they made her look real old and just, you know, homely. I would never say that, like, Isabella Rossellini is homely, but...
Yeah, they made her look that way.
Yeah, she looked like a real put-upon nun. That's what she was.
Okay.
But yeah, I would recommend that movie. It's really good.
Okay, nice. So, yeah, let's talk about politics. That's why we're having this podcast. You know what happened? Like, it was a real shock that Trump got the presidency again after, he tried to overthrow the government and he was successfully sued for raping a woman. And
yeah, he's an adjudicated rapist. He's an insurrectionist.
Yeah.
He's a white nationalist. He's an autocrat. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's a gibbering moron. He's demented. He's senile. Yeah. He's a fucking moron.
Right, yeah.
And like,
talking.
I don't mean to sound like jaded post-election at all, because
but you can't help it.
I was in shock too, because I really, like, I was talking to my mom on election day and I was like, no, Kamala has this wrapped up. Like, I really believe that. I was like, no, it's going to be tight in some states, but she's going to figure out a way to pull it out. Like, she's got a good team.
I thought so too. Yeah.
And, when the bad numbers started coming in Georgia and North Carolina, I was like, this feels familiar, but I'm still a believer. And I was just like, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to wake up and she's going to be president. No.
I woke up at 3 a.m. and I checked my phone and I started crying. And I woke my boyfriend up because I was like crying so hard. I mean, he didn't mind. He feels the same way. But it was really tough. It was really tough.
The problem is the electorate. Like, I don't blame Kamala
at all. Yeah, no doubt.
All.
She ran an impeccable campaign. This woman had a to-do list. She told us exactly what she wanted to accomplish. She was clear and concise in her messaging. I could go on. She had great social media team. She worked hard.
She was a disciplined messenger for the Democratic agenda.
Yeah.
She was a powerful advocate for a woman's right to choose, a powerful advocate for women in general. And to see young women not abandon her. Young women still voted for her, but not in the rates that they should have. And to see white women abandon her again, like they abandoned Hillary.
Yeah, the statistics are chilling and despicable.
Yeah. And like, I'm not trying to like point out, oh, it's all white women's fault. Like, I felt some of that in 2016, like, white women, get it the fuck together. But this time around, it was everybody. It was almost every demographic that like fucked up.
I mean, it's really hard to think about. And as a Gen X person, we are kind of, how do I put this, disciplined to keep people at arm's length. But after the pandemic, especially after Trump was elected again, I feel like I can't trust anybody, which is fine. Like that's default for me. But it just feels, no way am I comparing that to what's going to happen to people under a Trump administration. It doesn't affect me as much because I'm older and I'm a white woman. I think people are trash, and I think it's even worse now. And yeah.
Yeah, in 2016, at least there was a sense of community. And, even if you weren't like calling yourself a resistance liberal, like there was a sense that like, okay, we're going to get through this. Like there was some hope that like after Trump, after we find a way to get past him, we can recover somewhat and we can do something. And like to see 8 years later for them to choose him again after everything, it's like, what does it all matter? There's no resistance to this. There's no sense of community.
Not right now. I mean, I think it's really new. I think it's too soon right now. We'll have a little clarity in a little while, and we'll know once he's president and what's happening.
We don't have to wait until he's president, honestly. I mean, I'm not trying to be like contrarian, but like...
Yeah. No, I get it.
We've already seen him in action for 4 years. It's going to be worse this time. That's the only thing we're waiting for. It's going to be a hell of a lot worse this time because he was a fucking catastrophe and he was undisciplined 4 years ago. And now he's got all of these right-wing fascists backing him and they're going to control him and he's going to be their puppet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of Black women online saying like, You guys voted for him. You figure it out. We're not going to do this work anymore.
I really liked the message that Baltimore mayor, his name is Mayor Scott, he posted to Twitter. Did you see that?
I saw something about it, but I didn't see what he wrote or said.
It was a recording, I think, of a press conference he did, and it was on TikTok, and they posted it to Twitter. And he was just thanking Black women for all they'd done and said that they're not going to carry the party anymore. They're not going to be, that we should thank Black women and not expect them to save everybody.
Exactly.
That's what he was saying.
And I mean, that's been the message all along when Kamala came to the rescue, really.
And how she reminds me of Meghan in some key ways. I'm not saying like exactly or anything, but how could she have done it better?
Yeah.
I do not think there is a way she could have done it better. And from her messaging to her delivery to her personality. She's a lovely person.
And all
Sorry, go ahead. I could go off.
No, I completely agree. And all the Democrats finger pointing and eating their young, like, oh, she should have done this. Oh, Biden should have done that. Like, you got a masterclass in how to run a national campaign in 100 and some days. Like, she raised over $1 billion. She was the most disciplined Democratic candidate I've ever seen on message, on policy.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And it still didn't work.
Trump was filleting like microphones talking about how he's going to have people murdered and we're never going to be able to vote again.
Yeah.
And she was saying, let's all sit down at the table and here's what I'm going to do for Medicare. She had specific objectives.
And on Wednesday, like, I saw some of the comments that we deleted them. They were like screaming at me personally, like, she wasn't liberal enough. Oh my fucking God.
A lot of those people are bots.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those people are just assholes.
Yeah, and they still are.
But that's like a consistent, like, leftist message of, like, she should have been more liberal. Biden and Harris have some of the most pro-union, pro-labor, pro-middle-class economic policies, progressive policies ever. Like, just say that you don't give a shit about policy. She's not leftist enough. She's not pro-worker enough. She doesn't care about white workers enough. Bullshit.
They're not paying attention is the thing. And these people would use any excuse to...
Yeah, and like, the people saying all that shit enjoy Trump's tariffs.
It's going to get bad.
Yeah.
It's going to get bad.
And Elon Musk said that before the election. He said, we're going to crash the economy. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. They still voted for him. Trump will fix it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'll fix it.
All right, you want to talk about the royals? There's nothing else to say. I mean...
Yeah, we're fucked.
Yeah. I mean, I like Dustin at Pajiba's article today. His wife is the head of the ACLU in Maine. And he said, you know, yeah, we're fucked, but we can still do stuff locally. We can help people locally. I mean, yeah, we don't want to do shit for Trump supporters, but there's other people that we can help and that we can work with, and it'll come up. And
what I've been
we don't have to know right now, but
yeah,
I think it'll come up.
I get what you're saying. And like, you and I, we live in Virginia, which miraculously was still blue in this election.
I'm so glad.
Kamala had a 5-point spread in Virginia.
Yeah.
And we have a dipshit Republican governor who did a voter roll purge about a week before the election and took off a bunch of Democrats off the rolls. And Kamala still won the state by 5 points, which is incredible.
Yeah, good.
But, you know, the governor's race is next year. I wonder what that election's going to fucking look like.
We'll see. We have a Democratic state Congress, right? And state Senate, too. But he's been kept in check so far.
Glenn Youngkin said right after Dobbs that if Virginians gave him a Republican House of Delegates, that he would ban abortion in the state. And L. Louise Lucas said, I think the fuck not. And she got a majority. She got a majority in the 2003 local elections.
Nice.
It's a slim majority,
23.
But yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the royals. So we haven't recorded in about a month, and since that time, Charles and Camilla went on this little mini tour of Australia. And as we're speaking now, we record on Thursdays. Prince William is currently in South Africa for his Earthshot ceremony. And he did a few little things for that.
Yeah, he's leaving today, Thursday. And on today, he got booed and protested.
Good.
Some South Africans told him to go home. Good,
yeah.
And yeah, he just looked like an idiot in South Africa.
He just wanders around cosplaying Harry and then tells all the Rhoda to report that he's this big boy statesman. And he can't even get meetings with people, but whatever.
No, the British stories like the Telegraph, they were so fucking shady about the statesman stuff. They're like, William's office says William is a statesman.
Oh, that's great. I love that. They're not even mincing words about where that came from.
But yeah, he looked like an idiot. And the beard looks horrible. God,
yeah,
I know we talked about
the beard. He looks a lot better without the beard. I think we talked about it a little bit. He looks a lot better without it.
Well, the beard is concealing the fact that he's lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, there's theories that he had post-COVID, but who knows what's going on with him.
That's an interesting idea that he has long COVID and he's hiding it.
Yeah.
Does long COVID cause weight loss, though?
Well, I guess it could. I think a lot of what I'm going through now, like, I always had bad uterine pain, but after I had COVID, it got 10 times worse. It got so much worse. I think it's just because my body was in a state of inflammation. And I don't feel like eating as much, but who knows what other people go through with that.
That's an interesting theory, though. And I'm sorry that you're going through that again, but like that's an interesting.
I appreciate,
interesting theory that it could be long COVID for William.
Well, I think I wrote it in the comments. I mean, I didn't come up with it, but
I mean, he's looked like ass all year. But anyway,
he's had it like a couple times. I thought at least once that we heard about, like well after he had it and well after he was doing meetings. Like they never cared about spreading it. I always harp on that because I can't stand those people, but that is especially despicable to me.
Yeah, and Camilla had it and she was breathing on people at like a food something or other.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring that up again because I love talking about it all the time. I tell people that, like, if they ask me anything about the royals, I tell them about Camilla spreading COVID. Like, she really knew what she was doing with that. I used to wear a mask a lot, and then I stopped wearing a mask, and that's where I got COVID. But the minute I started feeling a sore throat, I started wearing a mask again so I wouldn't spread whatever I had. You know, and then when I had it, I tried to stay away from people. But it just irks me that you can have a close family member have it and then you go out without a mask. Yeah, no.
And I still believe that Charles and Camilla were actively trying to give Queen Elizabeth COVID in her last year.
I think they gave it to her, remember?
Yeah, she had COVID. And like they're like, how did she get it? It must have been a staffer. I'm like, no, it was Charles and Camilla because they both had it right beforehand.
Yeah, and they went and visited her. Yeah, he wanted promotion.
Yeah.
So we also heard while we were off that Harry and Meghan purchased a villa in Portugal, and that's where Princess Eugenie and Jack Brooksbank live. Jack actually works for the real estate company. It's like they're building a huge development of all these like luxury villas on the Portuguese coast. Nice.
Jack left his job with Casamigos. He like did promotion or something with Casamigos. And now he works at this I think doing promotion and like sales for this luxury villa company.
Oh, nice.
And so he and Eugenie, they split their time between England and Portugal. And Harry and Meghan also visited them in Portugal last year after the Invictus Games in Germany.
Nice.
So who knows how long Harry and Meghan have even owned this villa? I think they do own it. I think they did buy a villa.
Yeah. The press was freaking out about it. But, I mean, they freak out about everything.
Yeah, and they haven't denied it. Like, there hasn't been, like, some sort of, like, whisper to People magazine, like, no, they never bought anything in Portugal. It sounds like a backup plan, and it looks very smart right now, post-election.
Yeah, it does. Because Trump has said he would deport Harry. And he called Meghan the B word, right? He called her something.
He called her nasty.
Nasty, that's his go-to.
And like the thing about that is Trump has mostly been kind of prodded into saying all of that stuff because a lot of the British Tory and like right-wing lunatics, they love Trump. They're always trying to like whisper in his ear, like, you know, you should say something about the Queen. You should say something about Harry. And like he just kind of parrots whatever their talking points are.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Because he doesn't really have unique thoughts that much. Like he just repeats the same things over and over. Like garbage, the late, great Hannibal Lecter. Yeah. Oh. He does. He just repeats the same things over and over. I want to talk about RFK Jr. saying they're going to remove fluoride from the water. They can't even remove lead from the water. They're not going to take the fluoride out. I doubt it's like a spigot or something that you can turn off at each municipal water supply.
And it's such a vintage complaint, too. Like, I haven't heard anyone complain about fluoride in the water in decades.
Yeah, it was like a 90s thing. And then people forgot it. They're like, oh, that's fine.
People talked about that in like the 80s. Like, for real. It wasn't even the 90s. It was the 80s when people were like, should we put fluoride in the drinking water? And like, then people just ignored it because there was so much other shit going on.
We had the AIDS crisis, you know, like some fluoride is not going to hurt us. It probably helps our teeth. It does help our teeth. Like, they better not mess with vaccines. What they'll probably do is they'll probably try to get health insurance to stop covering vaccinations and terrible stuff like that. Like, it's just, they're going to kill so many people. I mean, they already did with the pandemic, you know, and the lack of measures that they took and telling people not to wear masks and not to get vaccinated. Like, it's, yeah.
Someone was talking about, it was like a public health expert. They were talking about like, what were Trump's actual successes in his first term. And they're like, you know, he genuinely did a good thing by throwing so much money at getting a COVID vaccine done really, really quickly. But he couldn't run on it this time because all of his supporters are so anti-vaccine. Yeah. He could never take credit for it. There's one genuinely good thing that he did.
I mean, they dismantled the pandemic plan and didn't implement it at all.
Like, I'm not trying to say that, like, he did everything right. I'm just saying that, like, he did one very targeted thing, which was throw a shit ton of money at a COVID vaccine, at creating one.
I thought you were going to say he threw paper towels.
Yeah.
When you say he throws stuff, that's all I think about. He said in one rally, I believe, that he got the vaccine. He recommended.
And he got booed.
And they booed him. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and that's who voted for him to be president again.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the comments of the week.
My comment of the week is from, I don't know, it was the first thing I wrote when Kamala lost on Wednesday morning. Commenter Whyforthelove wrote, I will never underestimate how much men hate women or how much white men hate everyone ever again. Very true.
Yeah, like in order to vote for that guy, you have to not care about women's rights to a massive degree.
And that goes for women, the women who voted for him too.
Yeah.
And you chose a comment from that same post.
I did. It was from Potty Mouth Pup, and she said, this election has proven to be an indictment of white American hell-bent on protecting white male privilege and Christian hegemony. Christian hegemony. I looked up how to pronounce that, and I practiced it, and I keep forgetting.
I wouldn't have.
When I pronounce stuff wrong, people school me. I've never been more relieved that I don't have children to worry about, but even without those worries, I'm despondent. Yeah, I mean, I will look at people so much differently. I already did after the pandemic. But I don't trust people. I don't trust them. And yeah.
Yep.
That's all. I'm really privileged. You know, I'm lucky. And people are going to be really affected by this. And it's, yeah. I'm still kind of numb about it.
Me too.
Like, there's a sense of unrealness to this, like, where this can't really be happening. Like, this is not reality. This is like some alternate branch that we're not supposed to go down.
And I want to tell some people another unhelpful thing that too many people are doing, and they need to stop. Stop saying, I knew she was going to lose. Stop saying that.
Oh my God, right? Right?
You fuckers did that with Hillary too. Oh, I knew she was going to lose. Well, here's your fucking prize. Instead of doing the actual work to get her elected, you just sat there smugly saying, I knew she's going to lose. Cocksuckers.
Did you vote for her? No, they don't care. I mean, it's people gloating.
They're always in a rush to say it too. Oh, I knew she was going to lose. I knew it was going to happen.
So as I was saying, I'm Gen X. I feel like I have watched everybody go from, being civil to each other to being fucking trolls in real life, and it being way too acceptable to be a terrible person, because the biggest troll of all is running the country now. It just feels like it got way too acceptable to be a jerk.
Yeah, it's the coarsification of American culture. And part of it, a large part of it is Trump, but I think it started before Trump. It started with how people treated Obama.
I'd argue that it started with Ken Starr and Bush and the messaging around all that. But yeah, and probably started earlier. That's probably just unique to my age and what I witnessed and paid attention to. But yeah, it's dumb people thinking they're right without even being curious or trying to learn and just accepting what they're being told.
The backlash to Obama, I feel like, was the start of the modern coarseness.
Yeah, that makes sense. We should end on something stupid, but it's really hard to come up with anything to laugh about.
Yeah. Go see Conclave. You'll be astounded by Ray Fiennes' hairline. It's a really great movie.
You're so rude.
It is rough. That man was beautiful 30 years ago. Oh my God, he was one of the most beautiful men.
He's supposed to look ugly for this. I still would.
I still would too, but I was like, ooh, Rafe, can you take care of your skin, brother?
Remember when he got with that I was going to say stewardess. You're not supposed to say that anymore. When he got with that flight attendant.
He slept with the flight attendant.
He hooked up with her right after their flight, and she went and talked to the press. I always think about that one.
Yeah, it was something a little bit sleazy, but it wasn't that bad. He was single, I think.
Yeah,
he was a hookup. He hooked up with someone and she sold her story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that shit.
Yeah, go see Conclave. It's really good.
Okay.
And if you like Poirot, the character, any of the iterations of Poirot in film or television, this is like papal Poirot. He's a detective.
Okay, I'll tell my mom.
He's trying to figure it out. He's trying to figure out what the Pope knew and how the Pope died and what everyone else was doing.
Okay, neat. I'll tell my mom. She'll get it when it comes to streaming. And I want to shout out to the older women and men and our older listeners. I feel so bad for my mom's generation, especially the people who were protesting Vietnam, who went through Vietnam, who are still good Democrats. She's organizing in the villages and part of the Democratic Outreach Committee, and she's doing her best, and it's devastating to them.
Yeah. It's devastating to every normal Democrat who just, goes through life and votes straight Democrat every election and tries to cut out all the noise and bullshit of all these people screaming about dumb shit that doesn't matter and how uneducated they are about everything.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks for listening, bitches.
Thanks, bitches.
Thank you for listening to the Celebrity Podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you like us, please turn off your ad blocker when you visit our site. You can text us or leave a voicemail at 434-218-3219. Our music is from AA Alto, Maiden, and via Premium Beat and Sound of Picture. Thanks again.